Thank the angels.
All right, we're going to go through a portion of this kind of fast, and other parts we're not. This is about forensics and a case that I had. Now, you heard from Betty Barney Hill, the case for Kathy Martin this morning. Excellent case. I'm going to show you a forensic case we're working on in an all-black family. Why is that significant? Why is this significant?
Because I said so.
Okay. Why? The lady called me on the phone. She says, "But we've had this wild stuff going on. I was recommended from you by people up in Canada." And I said, "Okay." Shows how much they know. I work alone here. All right. Now, that's okay. And I said, "So what nationality are you?" She's obviously black on the phone. And she says, "Well, Mr. Sims, we're African American." That's why I got that part. Answer the question. Almost nobody out there is pure anything. What are you? She says, "Well, we're Cherokee Irish." Thank you. 45% of our abductees are. I don't care if you're black or not. I don't care what you are. 45% of them are Cherokee Irish. Or Native American Irish. Many of them are Cherokee, like me. Now, the whole point of that is that she says, "Well, that's weird." And she says, "Well, I've got an adopted son." And I said, "Well, I would love to do a DNA test on him." She says, "Why?" I said, "See if he's your son or not." She said, "I said he was adopted." I said, "Doesn't mean a thing to me." What makes you think he's not yours? What makes you think he's not related to you? What makes you think? What causes you to know? We don't know anything yet. Not yet. But we will. Okay. Been all over the world. That's Indiana Sims. My wife calls me Indiana Sims because she says you're never going to be happy unless you done my fire with your hair on fire. Thank you, Mommy. What's it like working with the abductees? This guy actually stands eggs on end. I can't do that. I will tell you. But that's what it's like. All those eggs were not glued together. This is what it's like working with abductees. You got to be real fragile, you got to be real careful, and you got to come up with some kind of story when it's all over. That's the way it works. All right. We go all over the world doing our stuff, everywhere. Fun stuff, looking at abductions, we do all kinds of stuff. I actually was in the CIA, that's me in the CIA there, teaching martial arts there, and that's on the CIA installation in country. It's a private area where they train spies to go out to be case officers around the world, and I was part of that program. Professional bodyguard, been a dive master with shark research in the 80s. Actually was almost human once. My wife will never believe that. I started this stuff because I love scientific anomalies. I love finding stuff that people can't explain, and just like that wooden handle on that strange thing there. What's so funny about that is, well, the iron inside the rock, in that handle, thousands, billions of years old, is modern iron. It's very modern. It just can't have happened. It just can't be. And I love stuff like that. I've always been fascinated with that. There were 4,500 cases of trace evidence on this planet proving UFOs. Period. Well, where's all this evidence? Well, there's several people that have a lot of it, and they can't even get it studied because somebody in the UFO community, A, doesn't know about it, or B, wouldn't put up the money if they had to. So what are you going to do? Well, you just do what you can by yourself. That's just the way it is. The only level playing field I ever saw in the UFO community was a cliff. I'll let you figure that out. This is my last abduction place, 1965, age 17, right there in that room. They came in, you say, well, it was a screen memory, it was this, it was that. No, they broke the door. They kicked the door in, broke the lock clean off of it. Lock was laying on the floor. My dad got up the next morning and says, "Pretty rough on your door there, boy." I kept my mouth shut. First one talks is going to be the loser, so I just didn't say anything, and he went away. But they were there that night. This 5 beings showed up in my room. I've never seen them before or since. The best way to describe them to you is if there was an SS of the alien, it would be them. They are not friendly. I've only met 8 people that ever have met that one particular, and every one of them ended up totally destroyed mentally. I mean, it's just awful what he does. God found a guy that had an implant in his head just exactly like I did at age 12, and he got his at the same time. That's my book, obviously. A lot of people think they were in this higher school of higher consciousness. You might have been, but when I work with you, that's generally what we find. It's a school of something, but it is not of consciousness. And this is what they do. Now I'm going to put on my cop hat a little bit here today, and it's going to be different than the other day. The other day I'm friendly, hat, smiles, and all that. And that cop hat gets on, it doesn't believe a thing you say. It's looking for a perk, and you may be it. You may be part of that program. Then I have another hat I wear. It's an intelligence hat. I was in the CIA for 2 years, and when I was in, I was stunned that the CIA, any intelligence organization, period, Mossad, KBG, it doesn't matter. They all use the same techniques that the alien does. Why is that? This is incredible. And the last thing I want to tell you before we really get into this case, and this is really important for you, this is huge. You're not going to read this anywhere. An MO is the modus operandi. It's a system that any perp, any criminal uses. And when I use the word criminal or perp, I want you to use the word alien. And you'll see that there's not any difference. I didn't make this stuff up. When you look with a cop hat on at these events, not as a UFO guy, or somebody who's going to cry with you in your sorrows or laugh with you in your joys, the guy who doesn't care. You see things a lot differently. And here's what we find. One of the things I've found is that the MO is obvious, that any UFO investigator worth his salt can figure out the MO of the alien. Duh. There's tons of information out there. It's stuff practical. You can tell somebody, they come in and say, as abducted, you probably tell them what their event was. It's going to be very consistent. Next point. This is a big one. 3 things that happened in this MO. First of all, they got to ensure the success of their abduction. Let's call it crime. Whatever. That has to happen. Second thing is they protect their identity. Notice that I couldn't see their faces. There was one who was in the shadows and never would come forward. Why do you suppose that is? Because he doesn't want you to know. I'll tell you, give you a hint. The guy in the shadows that didn't come forward, that's the guy who's getting all your goods. He knows more about you than those little cosmic skinheads ever knew. They're collecting stuff for him. So he can pipe that in and crawl off into his hive in his hexagonal tube and get inside there and inject whatever he wants, so to speak. Your horrors, your fantasies, your fears, your sexual desires, everything he wants, he has them collect from you. I didn't get abducted. He was outside my bed standing there like it was downloading or uploading. That's right. Didn't have to abduct you. They don't need to do that all the time. 20% of the time they will physically take you. Most of the time they will not. Protect their identity. Third thing, effect an escape. They've got to get out of there. Very important. Very important. Those things are going to happen with the MO. Now what happens if we take this a step further? When a good cop investigator in the UFO field will look at most UFO guys, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way. Please don't accept it that way. The UFO guy comes, hey, I got this picture, it's really great, and look at all this. And the cop looks at him like he's nuts. Yep. Great. Doesn't care. Doesn't mean a thing. Then the cop pursues this, and he gets caught at some point. He can't figure out all this stuff out. So the next thing he's going to do is go get a profiler. What's a profiler? This is the person who's looks at the cop like the cop looked at the UFO guy. He's that good. So what does a profiler do? He looks at all those pictures of your cuts, burns, scars, UFOs, and all that wacky stuff. He can tell you the entire nature of the person who did it and why they did it. Why they enjoy what they're doing, or why they're putting that together. That's what a profiler does. You think we might need a profiler in the UFO field? Shake your head this way. Do you want to know what the alien's thinking? Do you think he's going to sit there and tell you? He's not even doing it for himself. He's doing it for someone else. I'll give you a hint. So, the profiler finds two things. Ritual. In these events, ritual means the signs or fantasy of a psychological need. These could be scars, burns, wounds, and so on. That's just the way it works. Now, in that, on top of all that, there's a signature that will often be left. Your UFO people are not going to ever find this stuff. They don't even know what we're talking about. The signature is a unique combination of behaviors. These physical, mental, spiritual aspects or signs can be at the behest of the perpetrators, MIBs, or anyone else that's involved in this. Not the Greys. They don't do anything. They're the pizza delivery guys. They pick you up and deliver you to the people who want the pizza. They have an IQ about 80. They come wrong. They can't even put you in your own. They can't even put your clothes on right. They put you in the wrong room, wrong bed, sometimes wrong state. Oops. So that's the way it works. Now, we just did that technical stuff so we can kind of get ahead here and have a little fun. These are just some of the marks and things. When a UFO guy sees that, oh, wow, man, it's really an abduction. Cop looks at it and thinks, how could I have duplicated that? How did they fake that? That's Mimi Heineck right there on film. That's, she didn't like to see her because how she's holding that little parasol. She didn't like me. She's telling me, her whole body's telling me. After my presentation, because she didn't believe there was any such thing as evidence. Nobody did back then. This is like 1994. Whatever. What are you talking about? My husband, Alan Hynek, he didn't find any big bunch of evidence. What made you think? She just thought I was nuts. I got up and did my presentation. She had crippling arthritis. She walked up the 5 steps and walked up and took her crippled hands and shook my hand and said, "Young man, I'm very proud of you. I had no idea there was any evidence at all. I just want you to know my husband would have been proud of you." That's sweet. You have just made my year. Wow. What new things are we growing in the lab? I'll tell you a funny story about my wife. I have UFO stuff over here from some of you people. And we have our food and stuff over here. And my wife said, "Let's get another refrigerator." So we did. I said, "What are you thinking?" And I said, "Sweetie," I said, "just because the stuff it might grow and get over here." I said, "Well, your stuff that you don't get out of here half the time might grow toward it. Maybe it'll create a third kind of being or something. Who knows?" Ain't a refrigerator out. We do this all the time. We do fun stuff. Anybody know this lady in blue? She lives up in this area somewhere, right there. I need to see her. She was Native American Indian Conference there. She has a sample of handwriting from a MIB. She told me she was sent to me and she didn't. Now I'm looking for her. My abductee the other night was on the radio program. Those of you who know about it, this program on Art Bell, assaulted his captor. They made a mistake. I told you they do. You just have to be ready when they make a mistake. The captor made a huge error, and he hit him with a razor-sharp samurai sword. Probably killed it. Got DNA all over the sword and all over the door, and I have it. And the 2 dogs attacked the other 2 aliens because the aliens made a mistake not turning the dogs off. These are big dogs. Those 2 dogs died within 60 days. They were not able to assimilate their food. They literally starved to death. Beth had no idea why. You're looking at the first cell of what may be an alien. Okay. Here's the forensic case I want to present to you. It's a Philadelphia case. Handprint was left on the wall. This is what they call in the lay scissors, there's a big handprint on the wall. I said, "How do you know your son didn't do that?" She said, "Well, it's a lot bigger than his hand. It's got claws on it." I've often wondered, what kind of claws do I need to fly a flying saucer? I don't know. Maybe that's just one of my weird thoughts. Prints on other portions of the room. Fluorescent traces found after the abductions. Corroborative testimony. Forensic psychiatrist present. John Greenwald was present. Took DNA samples of the hand, of the witnesses, the hand on the wall, and from the witnesses themselves. Corroborative descriptions of hand and entities by other people not involved in that case. Outside the house, the mommy saw a UFO land in the backyard, she claims. Whatever it was, left 3 big places about 33 feet apart in the triangular form, and the grass won't grow there, still won't grow there. And that's been about 2 years. Entity seen, a mantis, 2 small grays, a doctor-type gray, and a Bigfoot creature reported 25 years ago. There's the hand on the wall. Now the mommy went and drew, took a magic marker and drew around the oily like soot or whatever it was that was left on the wall, and so you can see the imprint in the hand. I didn't like that, but that's mommy's. Do whatever she wants to. When I went there, I said, "Can I have that? Can I have that? Your wall?" And the husband, he comes in and sees me sawing the wall. I took a whole section of the wall. "What are you doing?" The wife says, "Leave him alone." She's a real big woman. Kind of woman can make me quit drinking. In fact, she made me do anything. You like that, huh? I don't drink. I have a drinking problem, so I don't drink at all. Thanks for bringing up that painful memory. No, I don't drink at all. That's a problem. There's you can see the light when it shined on the little oily like soot, whatever it is, it's on there, shows in that imprint around. So she did a good drawing. I'm very proud of her. Very happy that that's what it actually looked like. It was in red. She outlined it red. And that's the saw cut I made on the beautiful wall. I fixed the husband. He's sitting there horrified. And I brought in a picture that fit over it, and I just hung it on the wall. She said it works just fine. I love this woman. She is so good to me. This is me taking other prints out of the room. Some of them I think are... I'm just looking for mistakes in that house. Not just with the alien, but with the people. If anybody's pulling my chain, I'm going to find that out. Just because I believe your story of coming there and helping you out doesn't mean I'm not going to be checking everything out. There's the hand. It's imagine my hand. My hands are big. Imagine it about that much bigger, with claws, bent over. Now, what's amazing about that hand? I'll tell you that in just a moment. Hold that thought. This just floored me. There's my hand compared to it. We use it in different levels of fluorescence, different nanometer lengths to look at it. Every different nanometer length you can imagine. We looked at the curtains. Always look at everything. If they come in through the curtains, the walls, or wherever, you want to look at the curtains and see if there's any fluorescence or stains on that too. And there was. The young boy there, 16 years old, primary person that I went to look at over this case, describes the head of this alien. Now, does anybody have a clue what that head looks like? Take the face off of it.
Heart.
What?
Heart? Hair?
Just take the face off of it. What do you think the head looks like?
Guitar face?
Think of an insect.
Guitar.
Mantis.
Yes. Yes. Is that the face of it? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if you look at the head, you get the shape of it. The boy describes a mantis being in the room very clearly. He describes this little device here, probably an implant with a needle coming out to heal. That was great. That was a nice suggestion. We're giving you a needle to heal you. Thank you so much. I needed that in my eye. I can tell you some stories. So this is the young man, wonderful guy. Now the forensic psychiatrist there, he's there to debunk me. That's what he's there for, the UCLA. And we got in a big discussion after this case was over, and he said, well, I think this and I think that. I said, well, I'll tell you what. I said, I'm tired of being nice. I'm going to take off the gloves. I said, you're a three-alarm idiot. You're here for one reason, and that's to get yourself on TV as many times as you possibly can. I know exactly what your contract's about. I know what you're up to. You think that 16-year-old kid didn't know what you are? He's got an IQ of 165. What's yours? He figured you out in 5 minutes. The little girl who's in this stuff, 6 years old, she figured you out quicker than that. It was not pretty what she described. Because you think you're really smart pulling all this stuff on these folks. They're going through horrific times, and you sit here and play Mr. Scientist. It doesn't work. And I said, I hope this case goes forward, because when it does, we're going to do DNA and everything else. And I said, I'm going to expose you. How do you like that? So I know why you're here, and I know you. I know what you're up to. And so do they. I said, it's one thing to be a scientist, one thing to be critical. No problem with that. It's what you're doing to these people. And they already figured you out. And the mother wanted to kick you out the front door within 15 minutes after we got there. You think you gave off like good vibrations or something? It's not working. You're not a scientist, as you're there with a predisposed idea. So I hypnotized the young man. This kid has been so traumatized. It is one of the worst, probably one of the 10 worst traumatized cases I've ever seen. His father, this is a Christian family, father's a minister. The father does not believe in all this stuff, but he can't deal with it, because you got to argue with mom, you got to argue with dad, you got to argue with everybody, you got to argue with the kids, and all of them are abductees except him. This boy jumped from the top of his stairs down this flight of 17 stairs, was going through a plate glass window to get away from that entity that was up in the room. It happened in broad daylight. This wasn't a night terror. This is daytime. His dad happened to be walking by, looked up to see his son coming down the stairs screaming, and he caught him and stopped him from going through the plate glass window behind him. Thank goodness for the dad. This is the sister. Her abductor, a Bigfoot. Unbelievable. Unshakable story. Absolutely unshakable. Wonderful people. Bruises, all the natural things. Here's the 60-year-old girl. Now I questioned her, and I'll tell you, Mama was better than I was. Now that's not exactly what you saw. You sit there and tell me everything that you saw. Don't you change one thing now? This woman was wonderful. And that little girl recounted everything exactly. She was so cool. Now the reason I like this little girl's story is because she told me things about the alien that only I know. Nobody I know knows. How do aliens eat? Anybody want to take a crack at that? Nobody knows. She knew, and she was right. How would she know that? It's not in the literature. Then how would she know? Well, she'd have to have been there and watching them do that, because they didn't seem to mind. She remembered every bit of it. This little girl was just, I was just stunned at her. Her mother there is just, the grandmother, that's the grandmother. That woman is just gold, in my opinion. She is just wonderful. So I worked with every one of these people, including Mom, the grandmother there, but she's also the mom of the kids. And to my shock and amazement, Mom was just a big abductee. Everybody in that family, this is the little girl's drawings. I mean, medical part, the equipment they used, the table, the whole 9 yards, all of them present, the height of them. And she even drew something else. The hand, which is in the other room. The key is locked, but she's not allowed to ever go. No one's allowed to go in that room. The little girl's drawing the same hand on the doctor that's in that room that's on his wall. How does she know that? I said, well, sweetie, I said, but the aliens have little tiny hands, don't they? No. Yes, they do. They have little hands. No, his hand was real big. Theirs were small, but the doctor type, his hands were bigger than yours. How does she know that? Because she was there. Got the claws and everything all together. What about those little bumps on him? What is this? What are those bumps on him? She said, oh, that's where they eat. Okay. Does you see his feet? Yes. Tell me what his feet look like. I said, almost nobody knows what an alien's foot looks like. That's weird, because your head's usually down. You should be seeing it. Very few people know what a foot looks like on an alien. Then she describes the lights, the light sequence, the sequence of lights that went around. She was just on the table, the equipment that they used on her, and so on. This little girl, this kid was just amazing. Then she shows the bruisings and things on her they found. And of course there was a little park right next to their home. I drove by and I looked at the park and I said, oh my gosh. She said, what do you mean? I said, those are your screensavers. Those are the images they used. Y'all go to the park here? Yeah. Right near your home? Yep. Those were the screensavers they used for you to convince you that's, a giraffe got me. Right, it came into my room. So hypnotized a little girl. Flawless, flawless. Her story consciously was not much better help with hypnosis. She was that good. And some of the equipment we use whenever we go in to do an investigation here. The alien came through the wall. Near this window, there's a closet. They come in through this is the mom. First of all, this front of the house. This is the mom's section. She saw a UFO coming out there. That was the one that came over the house and landed in their backyard. All kinds of telephone poles and wires around. Not a good place for a helicopter to land, I'll tell you. Here's the son's room back here, and the alien comes through the wall here, next to the window. There's a closet there. The young man has a phobia of closets. Many of you that are abductees and contactees sleep with your closet doors open or closed, and it has to be that way. Why is that? Because that's where they come in. That's where many of these events start. Many of you have clown phobias. Where did that come from? It's a screensaver. That's where that stuff comes. Why do you think they put that in the Spielberg's movie, on the whole series he did on TV one time? Had a clown there all the time in the background. He's pulling your chain. That's the point. I can tell you where you got the information. You got it off on the website. There's the 3 spots in the backyard where the UFO landed. No grass growing there. Here I'm taking soil samples and then control samples of that. I went back in the snow and looked at it at the same time. I wanted to, and amazing enough, I mean, of course, there's the soil samples. Different triangles and stuff. Later, I found a police officer called me in another location. It's in Houston now. Police officer called me and he said, "You got to come over here." He said, "In my place, my workout place where I need you to come look at something." He said, "It's in the glass." I went over and there's these little holographic hands in the glass, like it's a hologram in the glass itself. I looked at it and said, "Oh my God!" He said, "It scares my clients here, so I thought you might be interested." And of course, there's an abduction. They came through the glass. Sometimes that bright light that's behind them will image them in the window. That's the image. The hands, the incredible thing about these hands is that they were deformed. Whoever it was that went through that glass. We still have the glass. I even have it on film. And that's kind of a neat deal. Another case I want you to look at: sexual assault. Credible wife, an abductee, multiple abductions, daughter's an abductee, father's a minister, smells flowers on the wall, very common stuff, foul odor in the house at different times. Entities mimic the baby and the dog. Dog was gone during that day. Sexual assault with DNA evidence. One of the things I checked on her is her mouth. When I check your fluorescence, if I think you've actually got fluorescence on you for other reasons, I'll check your mouth. If we find fluorescence in your mouth, it will be pure white. They make you drink a very brown liquid that will make you defecate almost within 15-20 seconds. They cleaned it up. I don't know why they do it, but the substance they put in your mouth leaves your inside your mouth pure white, fluorescent white. You won't see it. This is fluorescence. You will not see it without black light. You will never see this stuff that way. Well, I never saw it. The investigator told me, I never saw any fluorescence. You use black light? Nope. Well, it's in the ultraviolet range. You can't see it. There's a needle hole where the abductors gave them an injection. Sometimes in the needle, the stuff backs out of the hole. And if you use a black light, you'll find out that's not a mosquito bite. It's an injection point. And the fluorescence was actually there. Some of the other equipment used: infrared, ultraviolet, different lenses, radiation detector, everything. Everything you can imagine. You used the whole show. I looked at the pillowcase. She said, "Why do you want the pillowcase for?" I said, "Was he a big man? Big whatever he was?" He said, "It was huge. He was very, yeah." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Where was his head?" She was over here next to mine, but above me. And I said, "His head was on the pillow." "Yes." "Was he on top?" "Yes." "Then he probably drooled." "I want your pillowcase too." Said it all. And I said, "Now listen to me. You're my friend, and I like you. I think the world of you. But if I catch you lying to me, if I catch your husband's semen, in this case. You're going to be in a lot of trouble. She said, no, I swear it's true. I said, I'll take your word for it. I'm just telling you what's going to happen to you. Don't lie to me. It's not going to be pleasant. And some of the sheets and the stuff I got, some of the stains were evident. We don't know what those are. What we were more interested in, of course, was, let's see, go back to that. There we go. Were the stains that did show up under UV. I said, I'm going to need your underwear. And it lit up, of course, like a Christmas tree. I said, now that could be your husband, you see. She said, it wasn't. I said, we'll find out soon enough, won't we? And I said, now after I've looked at it, I said, now I'm going to send it off to the DNA lab. And they're going to tell me what it is. What they say, as far as I'm concerned, comes out of the burning bush. It better not be you or your husband. This is where it happened in Arkansas. This is another abductee who flew in from California just so I could work with her. And she helped me with some of the case out there where we were investigating other parts of that case. More equipment we use and so on, just all kinds of neat little things. This is a case in Houston, Texas. It is a current case. It is horrific. These are long fingers. I'm going to explain to you things I did not explain to her. She said, look at this is my headboard on our beautiful, the big, very fancy bed, fancy home. This is our headboard. And I said, she said, look at the long fingers. And I said, look at the suction cups on the end of them. They don't have any dermal ridges. You're not going to get any fingerprints off of them. But what she couldn't understand, and I wasn't going to explain it to her because her life is tough enough. She doesn't need to quote unquote the truth. She's having a hard time living with it. And I kept looking at it all. She said, well, what does all that mean? I said, well, you know, again, to a UFO guy, well, we have evidence. There's some long fingers, and there's 2 fingers down, and 4 fingers. That's great. Well, that's whoopee-doo. What was he doing when he had his hands there? Well, I don't know. Well, actually, you can't. He was on top of her. That's the only way you're going to get those hands on the back of that board that's sitting against the wall, is you can't reach any other way unless you're in the bed. It's called sexual assault. Injections on her arms. She gets injections from time to time. Strap marks on her arms and hands, where she was literally held down by something that caused severe allergy as a result. And maybe that's from her twisting, trying to get away and all that. Maybe it is, maybe it didn't. But those are her legs, that's her arms. And a lot of you abductees don't realize you weren't just asked to lay on that table. Some of you didn't want to. Some of you saw what was coming in the room for you. And I'm telling you what, if they have to, they'll strap you. Some abductees are very angry with the alien. This is a picture of me after my event. I was not happy. To the alien, I probably look like a 400-pound gorilla on crack. I hope so. Some angry abductees have other plans for the alien. Notice the tire prints over that little guy. It's a joke. It's just a little dog pissing on it and all that. Some abductee does this stuff. They do fun things. You might want to change positions with them. One of our abductees fought back. She came in crying. Oh, they told me if I give you any more information, they're going to get my kids. I said, do you think they're not going to do it anyway? What's wrong with you? They're probably already getting them anyway. You just haven't told you about it. They had. Because this woman and her husband came to me privately on Sunday afternoons for me to work with them, right? The little girl, their little girl, 6-year-old girl, and their son, the deaf son, they never told this stuff. Little 6-year-old girl says, where are y'all going, Mom? Oh, we got to go see that counselor for Dad and I, for our marriage. Does that work? Isn't that the guy that's doing all the research on the aliens? The little girl was horrified. Then the little girl told her something else. She said, have you ever seen my twin? What twin? The one just like me, it's on the craft. Everybody ever heard of missing twin syndrome? Whatever the other kid is? It's feral on the craft. Believe me, you will not reclaim that. It's feral, it's wild, and it has no interest in you whatsoever. It might have been human at one time, but it's not much of that now. Anyway, the lady says, please help me. I said, well, we're getting better evidence from you than we are all of our abductees. Why do I want to stop your abductions or help you? I said, I have to because you ask, but I don't want to because I'm an investigator. This is crazy. Help us out here. Oh, okay. All right. I gave her a post-it note suggestion. Next time they come in to reach up and grab his eye cover. She said, well, what is it? I said, I want something if I help you. She said, what do you want? I said, I want Freddy Krueger's hat. What are you talking about? You saw the movie? Yeah. I want Freddy Krueger's hat. What is that? I said, don't worry about it. Are you ready? Yes. Sleep. Then I programmed her to grab her captor's eye cover. It's just a lens cover, just these sunglasses. Don't get upset. And tear it off. Why, you know what it is? Because I was there when I was 3.5 years old and I could see that thing wasn't real anyway. There was a little red thing, underneath, a little red light underneath his eye cover when he's looking over me. I wasn't scared. I was watching, observing him, which everybody should be. Next time he comes in, a few weeks later, guess what she does? I can't move. He gets real close, she goes, little guy. I asked the first question, I'm very moral. I asked the question, is he in pain? No. Okay. Well, what happened? She says, well, she tore half off the first time, and he was running off. Second time, she's not very strong. She said, well, I'm not strong like you. And I said, I'll program my strength in you. How's that? Will it work? I said, what do you think? So I did. They came back. Now you talk about dumb as a bag of hammers. Woman tore your eye cover off. You want to come back and get some more of this? Oh, was she ready next time? She didn't just grab and tear on it. And he came next time. She looked at it. This is so cool. You're not even going to believe this. It's a specialized system I've developed for aliens. And it works. We've done it 4 times so far. 4 times. She was the second person who did it. He comes in the room and he's like doing his thing with his lies, you know, or whatever it is they do that make you freak out, you know, and you can't move, I can't do anything. And she looks at him and says, come closer. You think I'm making this up? Believe me, I would understand that. And he goes, closer. And he's shaking. He doesn't know what to do. He's out of control. He does not know how. He's out of control. She reaches around his body, holds him so he can't get his little arms up this time, grabs the eye cover and tears the whole thing off. Oh my God, how horrible. You evil person. Yes, I know. Turnabout's fair play, I guess. She tore his eye cover off. And you better wear a helmet when you do this stuff, I'm telling you. She found underneath his eye a red stippled screen. This is alien abduction. This is what we do. I'm just kidding. Just a little humor. Just a little. Don't make it too serious. Now, he had a red stippled screen for an eye. Something dripped on her arm. Said, "Is it blood?" She said, "I don't know. There's a blue light in the room, and something's dripping on me." I said, "Well, is it blood?" She said, "I don't know. I have no idea." I said, "Well, is it motor oil?" "I don't know. It's dark because it's blue light. I can't tell what color it is. It's just a blue light in the room. It's consistent. That's okay." And the problem is, this time there weren't 2 little guys. There was 4 little guys, and the doctor, who's a lot smarter than they are. They worked for him. He was there. This was not pretty. So she won't let go of it. Because she's clamped on this thing hard. She's going to bring it back to me. She still doesn't know that she's supposed to do that. One got on each finger and pried her finger off. It took 5 of them to do this. And pried that, and he took the eye cover back. So I didn't get that, so that doesn't lend much credibility to my story. But I'm telling you that they are vulnerable When you're in 3D, you're vulnerable. When you're in transit, you may be hotshot and do all kinds of neat stuff, different dimensions and stuff. But when you hit 3D, you die just like anybody else. You get caught like anybody else. You can be captured. Now, bottom line. Everybody else wants to know the big questions to the UFO thing. I'm going to tell you. The map is not the territory. It isn't. It can give you a more accurate description if your map is real. Most abductees' maps are not real. They're maps given to you by them of what they want you to think reality is. That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? If I'm going to lie to you, think I'm going to tell you the truth? Don't count on it. It's not going to happen. It's called deception. That's what it is. Crop circles are not. Okay, the map is not the territory. You got that? If you have a physical map here of this state, that's not the state, is it? It's a picture of what might be the state. We hope it's accurate. If it isn't, you're going to get in the wrong locations. So we'll follow that, use that as the map, okay? Well, that's the way this UFO thing is. The map, your beliefs, our thinking, is not the territory. Crop circles are not the territory. They're just maps. Don't get confused with the map and think it's reality. Implants are it. That's the real answer. No, they're not. It's just a map. That's all. And if you can't read the map, you don't even know what it is anyway. That's why it's important to know what you're doing. UFOs are not the territory. Oh, but they are. No, they're not. I got a lot of film footage. I don't care. It's not. It's just a map. You haven't figured out what the map is yet. Where do you think you're going to go with bad information? Nowhere. You'll be hundreds of years trying to figure this stuff out, and they know that. The menu is not the meal. Let's change the metaphor a little bit. The menu is not the meal, right? It may look like the meal, but I promise you, when the meal comes, the menu won't taste the same. So don't try to eat the menu, please. I'm just being as blunt as I possibly can here on this UFO phenomenon. The waiter is not the chef. The little guy that got you, he's not in charge of nothing. He's a pizza delivery. He's a toaster. Put a wet piece of toast in him and he'll do weird things. That's the idea. You have to figure out what the toast is. If you don't know the map, you're not going to. You don't know the map, you're not going to know the territory. You're certainly not going to know what to do with him. So what's the alien agenda? I'll tell you in a minute. Anybody ever see the movie Troy?
Yeah.
I love that. The big Trojan horse revolt. Look what the gods gave us. Yeah, Poseidon. Bless me, Poseidon. Want to bet? It ain't for Poseidon. It's for you. And you're going to get yours. So that's not a very pleasant thought. What is it? How long does it take the alien to tell me the truth? Well, it's like women waiting for the perfect man. You can wait all you want to. You can wait a lot longer if you like. But you're not going to get the truth. Sorry. I'll give you a little bit more and then we'll close. I often get this answer, you know, the problem with you is, I said, well, I have a lot of problems, and there are many, myriad, and please help me. Be my therapist. The problem with you is you just don't know the difference between aliens and that they're just angels disguised. You are so wrong. We've had aliens and angelic beings actually show up in abduction events, one of them in my home. Do you know what happened to the alien as soon as the angelic showed up? Couldn't get out of there fast enough. And it brought something evil with it. And it couldn't get out of there fast enough. Is that kind of encouraging to you? That is to me. And you know what the neat thing about it is? It tells me something very distinct. That whoever angels are and whoever these guys are, they don't like each other. If you can't figure it out, maybe that illustration will help you. Something's wrong with that picture. Why is that? When the alien's coming for us, is it our deep values that they're looking for?
Bless you.
This is
Thank you.
John Belushi. 10 years of college down the drain. That's not what they're looking. They don't care. This is a screensaver memory, believe it or not. Michelin tire man. Black eyes. Notice that pure white black eyes. It's a screensaver. Then we found the alien. No, I'm just kidding. Michelin tire baby. Oh my gosh. Your events, I assure you, many times are not what you think they're going to be. I've had people beg me, please. I had one guy said, a millionaire, met him on an airplane on the way back at the first surgeries. You need to re-implant that implant in me. I'll be a volunteer. And so you just want to get re-abducted. You want to get abducted because you think we're all a bunch of crybabies, can't figure it out, and don't know anything anyway. And you're just this real smart Rosicrucian guy, and you've got it all together. That's what you think, right? As a partner, you're going to end up on the slab just like the rest of us. What makes you think you're any better than anybody else? Your Rosicrucian stuff and your mysticism isn't going to help you at all. They don't care. They're not interested. Shocking. Memory recovery. We use handwriting analysis on these people. Sometimes we use hypnosis, sometimes NLP. We use different types of things. A lot of times I will tell you, okay, I want you to just work with me for a minute. Okay, I'll be glad to. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to start questioning you, and if you start lying to me, the left side of your face is going to light up like a Christmas tree. Capillaries in the side of your face are just going to light up red. You're not going to know when I know, but I am. Now, you want to play? A lot of people don't want to do that. I mean, if you want to play, these are the hardball rules we're going to play by. So, I'm listening to your linguistic patterns while you're speaking to me. When you're going to do the hypnosis, I don't need to. But, yes, you do. No, I don't. I already got it. Already got it. I'm watching your eye patterns. I'm watching your physiology, the pitch, tone, and timbre of your voice. I teach this on the college level. I take the biggest skeptic in that room every time. Half the time I won't even let him answer the questions, and I'll answer them for him when I ask the question. Not because I'm smart, but because I can read people. That's the point. So we use all kinds of things to investigate people. I have an alien flip chart. I didn't bring with. I just didn't have it. It's too much stuff I brought already. That flip chart, you just assemble your own alien. It's kind of fun. Everybody's laughing and giggling until they assemble the one that looks like theirs. Then you see their face change. Like that, I guess I got the right guy. So it's kind of a joke at first, but when you get the right one, if it's your guy, I'll know it real quick. It'll be, we use all kinds of techniques, questionnaires. I mean, you can't believe the stuff we do to these people. It's terrible. But the fact is, we're doing it for their benefit. We found that the alien has blocks that they place inside people to keep, because you saw something or were present during an event that you saw or heard something you should not have heard or seen. You're not supposed to repeat it or know it. So they'll install a block. Most hypnotists will not get past it. I have seen as many as 3 blocks in an abductee. Now that didn't happen accidentally. Somebody installed those things. So we use conscious, subconscious techniques. Hypnosis is not sleep. Everybody thinks it is. Anybody? Who sees white dots up here?
I can see.
How many see black dots? How many's not seeing any dots? Open your eyes. Okay.
You see both. If you look
You
at
see
it.
both?
Yeah, you see both.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me tell you what hypnosis is. Most people don't have a clue. They think they do. Hypnosis is focused attention. Well, you have to be asleep. You have to have your eyes closed. You have to have the... No, you don't. That's a bunch of bull. It's not true. You're driving down the road. Half of you got here probably couldn't describe 10 feet of ground between the place when you entered the highway and the time you got here. How is that? You're in a state of hypnosis when you're driving. You want to see somebody dangerous? My mother never drives like that. She's a white-knuckle driver. Everybody's honking when she gets on the road. She is not in she is in a totally conscious state. There is no hypnosis involved. She scares everybody half to death on the road. She does. So you see white dots or black dots? Some people are seeing both. You're already hypnotized.
But not at the same time, not at the same time.
That's okay. You can just be hypnotized on that one part.
They keep hopping around.
I'm just messing with you. This is one of our abductees. She had the PhD psychologist that I talked to said it'd take 2 years to get rid of that snake phobia from her. I was finished in 11 minutes. Because I'm smart? No. Because I understand how memory works. You get a phobia real fast. Then you get rid of them the same way. Didn't take 2 years. It takes 2 years, you don't know what you're doing. And that's just a fact. We have cases given to us from MHMR, Tri-County, independent doctors. They just medicate some of these people that are abductees, and they say, well, I can't deal with I've been medication for one of them for 14 years. Tri-County sent him to me. I've done it in an hour. Because I'm smart? No, because I paid $4,000 for the course that it took to learn to do it. And they didn't. You think they're going to pay $4,000 to learn how to do that stuff? No. They'll wait 10 years for it to come out and circle through their crews, and then they'll put a new name on it and say they invented it. Those are people that didn't pay for the course either. Creativity is just taking somebody else's idea and somebody else's other's idea and then putting it together in a third way so you can play with it. There's nothing new under the sun. 45% of our cases, of 1,000 of our cases, are abductees or American or Indian Irish. It's really amazing Celtic. We're just absolutely amazed. They are looking for all kinds of people. Now in Brazil, you think our abduction cases are weird here? You think I'm stretching the... There's a book called UFO Danger Zone written by Bob Pratt. 8 years in the bush. The Chupa Chupas, UFOs that come up out of the water, they come up out of this Amazonian basin, out of the water, and they tortured these Indian nations, people, for years. Some of them got killed, some of them, they're tortured, all kinds of weird stuff. One of the things about abductees, this is my Bengal tiger to me, is that animals are either terrified of you or they just love you. I didn't say, do you like animals? I said, do they like you? 45% of Native American Irish, 31% reporting rare drug allergies to procaines, 35% report surgical work and implantation, 62% of women reporting a missing fetus or some gynecological anomalies, 63% of men reported an unusual lump, surgical scar, or needle-like punctures, sharp pain in the testicles, and a period of sexual dysfunction. 50% have nosebleeds for unknown reasons, etc., etc., etc. 56% felt suicidal for no apparent reason, never had a problem with it. Your brain sees, this is the girl I dated. I'll give you. You like her? Believe me, she's better this way. Like I said, I like her better this way. I'm just kidding. They tamper with your consciousness. They make you visualize, see anything they want. You don't have a clue what they're capable of.
Yeah.
This is why abductions works on... Well, women are more difficult than men in abductions. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's a joke. Hunting the alien in his own world. We're going to go ahead and close this, but if you've got any questions, if you turn the lights on, I'd like to answer any questions if you've got any. I know that's a big piece of meat for you to bite off and to take home, and it's not very uplifting. It is to me because people were able to thwart abductions. They quit abducting me when I was 17. My senior investigator, I programmed him because he would still get picked up once a year every time he went to Colorado, and he kept going to Colorado. Believe that? He knows what's going to happen. He took a gun with him next time. It didn't matter. They didn't care, and he didn't do it anyway. He didn't use it. So they abduct him, and he looks at him and he says, "Why?" Because this question came out that I programmed him. I said, "But I want to know the answer. Why don't you abduct Darrell anymore?" Now, how would they know who Darrell was? They knew exactly. They said, and they pronounced my name correctly. He pronounced it incorrectly. They got it correct. That was so funny. And in hypnosis, he says it correctly when they say it to him. He says, "Darrell was not cooperative." That may be a hint if you need a hint. If not, then my suggestion is that you go to the Cosmic Walmart, get on the blue light special, get the implant of your flavor. Raspberry, strawberry, chocolate, whatever. I mean, it's just, it's a totally different consciousness that's going on out there, folks. Yes, ma'am?
Do you have any other suggestions as to what a person could grab for evidence?
I do.
And what about DNA under fingernails?
DNA under the fingernails is excellent. Scratch them if you can. You don't have to let them know. You don't get, oh, I'm going to scratch it. Just do it without telling anybody. If you have fluorescence on you, like I put some on my hand a while ago, it will show up at various different nanometer lengths. If you touched him or held on his little arm, it will show up. It will penetrate your skin subdermally on contact. You will not get it off. You think you will, but you won't. We've had many doctors who thought they were going to get it off too, and it didn't work either. They did not get any of it off. We got it off by surgically removing it, scraping the area where the doctor is scraping it, and that's how I got about 12 samples so far from abductees. Yes, sir.
You're saying maybe now if an alien would walk under a black light that they would glow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
How? Now, in my first book, in this book, there's this wonderful story in there about a young boy who was terrified. His dad can't figure out what's wrong with him. Nobody can figure out what's wrong with him. He just has these night terrors. Well, his dad loves him so much, and I know this family. I know him personally. Danny Duff, great guy. He goes in, and he's an artist, and he paints in blacklight paint poster on his wall. And he sets him up a little night light. He got a Darth Vader head, which was a lamp that had a black light in it, and he set it up. This is so funny. The story is absolutely true. And these people are, I guarantee you, all abductees. Whole family. 3 people in the family. And his little boy, he thought, this will make him rest now, and he can sleep at night, and won't be screaming his head off at night, certain nights. So that was the wall they came in. When they came through the wall, the black light's on in the room, these guys are glowing like Christmas trees. And the little kid really freaks out then because they're not only black and white, they're in color. He's like, ah! And the incredible thing, the little boy's shaking in bed, he didn't know what to do. And the weirdest thing is, the little grays go over, this is so bizarre, it's in the book. The little Darth Vader head that's sitting here, they go over and look at it. And then they took him. But he said they stayed around that head for a long time. Makes you wonder who made that head, huh? Sir?
You said that the aliens can make you believe and see anything you want to see, and so what has convinced you that your personal experiences are not part of that?
Good, excellent point. Thank you for my story. Okay, excellent point. How do you know that you're not a victim of some consciousness? Well, first of all,
No, how do you know?
Yeah. One of the things I do is take photographs and look at all kinds of fake. I look at more fake stuff than you can imagine. It makes me mad. With the stuff they try to put over on us, or just misidentification and stuff. But they were looking at some pictures of a little, what they thought might be an alien here back here the other day, and it was kind of neat stuff. And I said, "You want to see a color photograph, 8x10, of a gray and a mantis being in the same photo?" What? I said, you have to understand, if just because you give me a description, even under hypnosis, even though I know I got you in memory, there's going to be a little bit difference in what you're describing and what he. If I took a photograph of it and you at the time of the abduction, and you told me your story and you drew your picture and all that, it's going to be close, but it's not right. Because they have tampered with you since you were 3 years old. They know how to do this. Now, so one of the things we do, we look at tons of testimony from different people. Everybody's not going to be able to hallucinate the same thing, and they're not going to do it at the same time, and they're not going to have the same hallucination, and hallucinations don't last that long. It doesn't work like that. So we're not going to be able to make this up. So, well, the alien may have done all this. That is true. But the drawings are consistent. They're also consistent with some of the photography we have. I have 2 good. 2, I'm going to tell you something I haven't told anybody. I have 2 This is bad because it's a tease. It's going to sound like I'm teasing you now, and I'm not. I can't show you the pictures. But I have color photographs by a forensic scientist who took the pictures himself. The intelligence people came in, apparently took him, asked him to come because he's one of the top forensic scientists at that time. This was years ago. Years ago. Took him into a room. I looked at the photographs. I've done a lot of work on the photographs myself. I can tell you a lot about that room. It's not a hospital. I talked to the individual who owns the pictures. They won't come forward because they're terrified for all kinds of reasons. I said, listen to me. If I were in charge of this case, I'd arrested everybody involved. Whether you said those were federal, I said it wouldn't matter to me. I don't care. They're going down. As first of all, one of the whoever they are, the creatures there, the little short guy, it wasn't dead yet. How do you know? It's because you can see the eye pattern. The eyes are different locations. I said, we've got a serious problem here. You've got probably the only evidence anybody's ever seen anywhere, ever. We've had several top forensic pathologists look at it. All of them say the same thing. Oh my God, what the hell's that? And stuff like that. Put a camera in it and a microphone under it. Well, probably it's just a hydrocephalus child or something. You liar. They're never going to ruin their reputation by telling you what they have. But they'll tell you privately what they think. It ain't human. That is not human. Part of your training as a doctor, as an MD, is to look at all kinds of maladies and deformed. They have whole places you go to see all this stuff. So you're familiar. They weren't the little grays. They were not involved in them at all. They were like, the best way to describe me is SS of the alien. He wanted me to remember everything. And he has installed those memories in two other people who were not even alive in my last event. My daughter-in-law and the lady I used in the mass abduction event I'm going to tell you about tomorrow that just blow your socks off, how we got even. How I got them to respond to us. It can be done. It can be done. Those two people were both shown by him my entire last event, which nobody knows anything about. They told me in detail, even what they did, how they broke my ribs, everything. Now, how did they know that? They guessed it? I don't think so. Nobody even knows what he looked like. I've never told anybody. They described it and stood a hair up on the back of my neck. That's how I know, for me personally. Yes, sir. In the back. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes. In the blue. This lady, right here.
Right here?
In the blue.
You said there was a situation where there was an alien in the room, and then an angel came,
Yes,
and the alien couldn't leave fast enough.
that's right.
So, there is a way to refuse alien abduction?
I think there is. I'll give you a hint. I'll help you out here. I do a workshop just on self-defense for aliens. I said, I can't stop them from taking you. Maybe you can't stop them from taking you, but you can do things after you get there. How do you do that? Well, I'll help program you. What'll happen? As soon as you get taken, you go, like you always do, and then all of a sudden you'll be on the table and you'll go, he'll come in like that and start scanning and everything. He'll look at you and try to do his thing, and you'll say, M-I-C K-E-Y M-O-U-S-E. He said over and over and over. They'll get so mad they'll just take you back because they can't do anything with you. Absolutely cannot control you. You're interrupting his control. That's the whole point. It's all about control. Always has been. What you need to know is why does he need control to do what he's going to do, and where is his information going? I'll give you a quick case in point. This is horrible. It's a true story. Family their whole lives were completely destroyed in one of the worst cases I've ever seen, Houston, Texas. Long story short, the lady never would be involved with hypnosis or anything. She said, I don't want to know, I don't care, I don't want to know. Destroyed the whole family. The husband I told you about, the one 14 years in medication, that was the guy I worked on. That was her husband. Tri-County finally turned him to me because they couldn't do anything. They said, medicate this guy for the rest of his life. God, it was killing him. Can't do this. So she finally calls about a year later and says, would you please come to work with me? I said, yes. I brought a lady with me. She set up a camera. She said, I don't want her here. And I said, she works with me. I don't know you. I don't work with ladies and people I don't know. Camera's going to be present, and that's the way it works. She said, well, I don't like it. And I said, then we're packing up. Bye. She said, wait. Okay, it's all right. So Teresa hooked it up. And long story short, this is how PhD psychologists have been sued in the state of California and lost in court. This abduction case is a beautiful example of it. You can lose your rear end financially here. So I hypnotized her, started working with her, and I said, she starts slacking. Stop it! Important, the camera's on. And she says, I said, who is that? She says, the doctor. What doctor? Well, she's got the first part right. But the screen memory that they're going to leave with her is her MD. How'd you like to go to court and defend that, Mr. Doctor? She's going to accuse you of sexual assault. And you weren't even present. But the screen memory was her doctor. Good thing I was there. Or she'd have been suing her doctor. And this went on for a while, and finally she keeps slacking. I said, well, tell me what your doctor looks like. She said, why? I haven't seen him yet. Well, how do you not know your doctor if you hadn't seen him yet?
Yeah.
You know? So it's obviously not her MD. Okay. I'll tell you, some people in hypnosis, they buy that, they hypnotize the screensaver, then she reports the doctor and all the doctor did, they go to court, doctor shows up and proves he wasn't even in the location at the time, you lose your license, you get sued, everybody gets clobbered, and you look like an idiot. That's what's wrong with not knowing the difference between recall and memory. This is recall. He's playing with her here. You have to understand you have to get inside his headspace and know what he's doing while he's doing it with her. So she says, she keeps slapping everything, and finally I said, well, if you do see the doctor or any part of him, let me know. Okay. So tell me about the room that you're in. I said, where's it at? It's the doctor's office, she thinks. It's okay. How many corners in your doctor's office? There aren't any? Yes, there are. Now what am I doing? Trying to get her to hallucinate. If I get her to hallucinate, I know there's some holes in her story. She says, no, it's a circular room. My doctor didn't have a circular room. I'm giving her evidences for herself. I don't want her suing her doctor. Next thing she sees is the long, white fingers coming toward her. And she screams. Now she's on the slab, clothes off, and he sexually molests her. She cries like a baby. Very, very moral woman, cried like a baby. Why are you doing it to me? It's just horrible. I mean, we're all crying. The ladies crying spell me, I'm crying. Oh, God, horrible. I said, since I'll probably never see you again, I'm going to tell you what I've never told anyone. She said, what's that? I said, I'm going to tell you why he did it. I said, the important thing for you to understand, he doesn't have any sexual genitalia. He didn't get off to anything. He doesn't have a clue and doesn't care. You need to think of him as a tape recorder for live experiences, passions. I said, I'm hoping you're going to ask that question. Well, where does it go? I said, to the one that sent him. He will enjoy it. He will. It's what he does. He loves your fear. He loves your passions. Imagine it as dope. And you need a new hit. A lot. Then you crawl off these little hexagonal tube, get in there and trance out for a while and do that for a while. He wants more, he'll just send him back and get more of it. And that was it. Your question, sir, and then you lady.
Yeah, because besides some of the physical evidence you spoke of, are there any other common identifiers that someone like me could use to try and determine whether or not they're being abducted?
Absolutely. One of the things is, it's in my books, by the way, but it stretches of highway, places you will not drive, places you're totally uncomfortable with. I don't go in the closet at night, or I have to have the closet doors open, I have to have the closet doors closed. Drove by, walked by, and saw that book, oh my God, it scared me, that's horrible. Why would you be scared of a freaking book? I mean, just a face. Unless, of course, you've been up next close to it. The large black eyes are big, huge tellers. People go into houses sometimes, you know those old pictures of little girls, a little sad-faced little girl, you know, that long skinny little pictures of her, everything. Huge black eyes. Scares people half to death. People absolutely freak out. I got one lady in Austin, Texas, never driven to work in 20 years. If her friend who drives her to work doesn't show up for work, she calls in sick too. She's not going down that road again. She's already been down there. She knew what happened the first time. Not going back. All kinds of markers, such as little needle holes. Usually it's over the bicep. Use your black light. Check it, because if it's them, usually a fluorescent material will back out. Check yourself with a black light fairly often. Even if you don't think, especially if you have a weird dream and you can't figure out why that you dreamed of aliens and there aren't any. And if you find fluorescence on yourself, and you'll light up like a Christmas tree when you see it. You will. And most time it'll scare you. One lady, case in point, said, Mr. Simmons, she came up to my house, she says, I know this is not true. I know I'm just making this up. I know I'm just trying to be one of these wannabes or something. I know this is not true. I had this dream, and they made me hold this baby-like thing, and I didn't want to, and I told them, no, I'm not going to, and they said, if you don't, it'll die. It's going to die anyway. They have a mortality rate that's horrific. They can't mother. What does that mean? Well, what's the mortality rate with babies that can't? They have no nurturing. They die. They almost all die. So they need you to substitute for their inequities. She's, that's why exactly how did you hold it? She, well, what did it probably drink? Tell me how you held it. Well, I held it like this. I hate it. Oh, it's awful. And that's what happened next year. Well, it suckled. That's okay. So I said, I have a lady here. She's going to take you to the bathroom, and I want you to do what she asked. She did. Takes her top off, her hand. She lit up like a Christmas tree on her breast and on her hand, where the fluids were from the entity. Bright pink. That's the color for that experience. It's in the book. You had a question, young lady.
Yes, you mentioned the 3D territory.
Yes.
What is the 3D territory?
The territory is reality itself. What is it? Is the alien going to tell you? No. They've told. Okay, let me make this crystal clear, and we'll have to close this because I don't want to run over here. Bottom line: the alien has never told any civilization yet who they really are. Look, I used to be a cop. If 8 of you witness a murder, right, or a crime, and then 8 of you tell me 8 different stories, guess how many are going to jail?
Nobody.
At least 7. Promise. I promise you, I'll get my extra hand. You're going to jail. At least 1 of you may have told the truth, but 7 of you have lied to me. And I need to know why. What are you covering up? Well, this is an 8-person conspiracy. Here's my point. They told every civilization, or allowed every civilization to buy into the myth that they project. The jinn of Islam, there's good aliens and bad aliens, ain't they? And there's good jinn and bad jinn in Islam. I've been to Istanbul and Turkey twice. I'm going again this year. Their stories are identical to ours. I hypnotize other people in their own language. It doesn't make any difference. They have exactly the same experiences we do. Nothing has changed. In every culture, I'll put my Irish hat on, the wee folk, the little fairy folk. Did you know that there are little good fairies and little bad ones, and they won't bring you back if they don't like you? So you better do what you're told. Well, I didn't read that in Aesop's Fables. That's because they didn't write it there. You go back and read the real stuff and see what it really said. The truth is in the stories, but it's still it's made into a myth. Because the alien doesn't want you to know who he is. I'll give you a hint. Whoever he was way back then, he still is. And now, after all these cultures for thousands of years still don't have a clue who they are, they don't. You're no longer carrying a club behind you, jerking hides off of animals thinking you're smart. You got a briefcase and a laptop, and you think you're a lot smarter. And you still don't know who they are, but you think you do. Well, they have to be aliens. Really. And after you, who will they be? After your culture is gone, who will they be then? They claim they're from the planet Banlon. That's a deodorant, folks. I'm just not believing this stuff. They'll give you pieces of truth. I used to be in the intelligence community. That's what they do. That's what we did. Pieces of nothing to lead you on to something else. And then spoon feed the idiots that don't have a clue. Because they'll make everybody buy into it. That's the nature of disinformation. That's what we did in the intelligence community. That's the game. The aliens have never told you, and they never will tell you. But I'll give you the bottom line. The bottom line is the creatures that you see, the little gray, the taller one, looks like the doctor, the mantis being, the reptilian and the Nordic human type and all that. I'll give you a hint. Those guys all work for someone else. They are nobody. Nothing. They have varying levels of intelligence. The little gray's got an IQ of about 80. He's a dummy, he can't figure things out. He can't. I kid you not. You think I'm making this up. It's prejudicial because I don't like them. No, it's not. It's based on, I was there. I can tell you 100 other stories. I just can't do this anymore. My next presentation will be tomorrow afternoon at noontime. Again, during the break, we'll have a workshop. It'll be $10 for those who want to do handwriting analysis and find out about what's neat about you in handwriting. And then that afternoon, I'll do my last presentation, which is on the mass abduction, the double mass abduction of 8 people taken in 2 states and several cities, all telling the same stories. They're all my abductees. Why? Because I pulled a ruse on the alien and he bought it. He bit hard and we caught him. We got him with his pants down. And guess who showed up on a craft 600 miles across, 50 miles thick? Mid-level management. Who's that? The ones you don't know anything about.
Woohoo!
But they were not happy. They used my name in unkind ways. Why is that? They want to know why he did that. Not because I'm smart, no, because I got him. There is no craft like it. Yes, there is. Want to see a video of it? If you email me, I will send you, by return email, not only a picture of what we think that craft was. It was filmed by a Japanese astronomer during the same time of the mass abduction. Crossing the moon, hundreds of miles across, was his description. I'll show you craft that are thousands of miles across. Now, my question to you is this. Remember, the map is not the territory. What in the world would you need a craft for? Hundreds of miles across, maybe even thousands of miles, if you have a planet? Maybe it's because you don't have one, and never did, and didn't need one. Yeah. Not yet, but we will. Okay, been all over the world. That's Indiana Sims. My wife calls me Indiana Sims because she says you're never going to be happy unless you done my before with your hair on fire. Thank you, Mommy. What's it like working with the abductees? This guy actually stands eggs on end. I can't do that, I will tell you. But that's what it's like. All those eggs were not glued together. This is what it's like working with abductees. You got to be real fragile, you got to be real careful, and you got to come up with some kind of story when it's all over. That's the way it works. All right. We go all over the world doing our stuff, everywhere. Fun stuff, looking at abductions, we do all kinds of stuff. I actually was in the CIA, that's me in the CIA there, teaching martial arts there, and that's on the CIA installation in country. It's a private area where they train spies to go out to be case officers around the world, and I was part of that program. Professional bodyguard, been a dive master with shark research in the 80s. Actually was almost human once. My wife will never believe that. I started this stuff because I love scientific anomalies. I love finding stuff that people can't explain, and just like that wooden handle on that strange thing there. What's so funny about that is, well, the iron inside the rock, in that handle, thousands, billions of years old, is modern iron. It's very modern. It just can't have happened. It just can't be. And I love stuff like that. I've always been fascinated with that. There were 4,500 cases of trace evidence on this planet proving UFOs, whatever. That has to happen. Second thing is they protect their identity. Notice that I couldn't see their faces. There was one who was in the shadows and never would come forward. Why do you suppose that is? Because he doesn't want you to know. I'll tell you, give you a hint. The guy in the shadows that didn't come forward, that's the guy who's getting all your goods. He knows more about you than those little cosmic skinheads ever knew. They're collecting stuff for him. So he can pipe that in and crawl off into his hive in his hexagonal tube and get inside there and inject whatever he wants, so to speak. Your horrors, your fantasies, your fears, your sexual desires, everything he wants, he has them collect from you. I didn't get abducted. He was outside my bed standing there like it was downloading or uploading. That's right. didn't have to abduct you. They don't need to do that all the time. 20% of the time they will physically take you. Most of the time they will not. Protect their identity. Third thing, effect and escape. They've got to get out of there. Very important. Very important. Those things are going to happen with the MO. Now, what happens if we take this a step further? When a good cop investigator in the UFO field will look at most UFO guys, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way. Please don't accept it that way. The UFO guy goes, hey, I got this picture. It's really great. And look at all this. And the cop looks at him like he's nuts. Yep. Great. Doesn't care. Doesn't mean a thing. Then the cop pursues this, and he gets caught at some point. He can't figure out the school of something, but it is not of consciousness. And this is what they do. Now, I'm going to put on my cop hat a little bit here today, and it's going to be different than the other day. The other day, I'm friendly hat, smiles, and all that. And that cop hat gets on, it doesn't believe a thing you say. It's looking for a perk, and you may be it. You may be part of that program. Then I have another hat I wear. It's an intelligence hat. I was in the CIA for 2 years, and when I was in, I was stunned that the CIA, any intelligence organization, period, Mossad, KGB, it doesn't matter. They all use the same techniques that the alien does. Why is that? This is incredible. And the last thing I want to tell you before we really get into this case, and this is really important for you, this is huge. You're not going to read this anywhere. An MO is a modus operandi. It's a system that any perp, any criminal uses. And when I use the word criminal or perp, I want you to use the word alien. And you'll see that there's not any difference. I didn't make this stuff up. When you look with a cop hat on at these events, not as a UFO guy, or somebody who's going to cry with you in your sorrows or laugh with you in your joys, the guy who doesn't care. You see things a lot differently. And here's what we find. One of the things I've found is that the MO is obvious, that any UFO investigator worth his salt can figure out the MO of the alien. Duh. There's tons of information out there. It's stuff practical. You can tell somebody, they come in and say, as abducted, you probably tell them what their event was. It's going to be very consistent. Next point. This is a big one. 3 things that happened in this MO. First of all, they got to ensure the success of their abduction. Let's call it crime. Period. Well, where's all this evidence? Well, there's several people that have a lot of it, and they can't even get it studied because somebody in the UFO community, A, doesn't know about it, or B, wouldn't put up the money if they had to. So what are you going to do? Well, you just do what you can by yourself. That's just the way it is. The only level playing field I ever saw in the UFO community was a cliff. I'll let you figure that out. This is my last abduction place, 1965, age 17, right there in that room. They came in, you say, well, it was a screen memory, it was this, it was that. No, they broke the door. They kicked the door in, broke the lock clean off of it. Lock was laying on the floor. My dad got up the next morning and says, pretty rough on your door there, boy. I kept my mouth shut. First one talks is going to be the loser. So I just didn't say anything, and he went away. But they were there that night. This 5 beings showed up in my room. I've never seen them before or since. The best way to describe them to you is if there was an SS of the alien, it would be them. They are not friendly. I've only met 8 people that ever have met that one particular, and every one of them ended up totally destroyed mentally. I mean, it's just awful what he does. God found a guy that had an implant in his head just exactly like I did at age 12, and he got his at the same time. That's my book, obviously. A lot of people think they were in this higher school of higher consciousness. You might have been, but when I work with you, that's generally what we find. It's
Take the angels.
all right. We're going to go through a portion of this kind of fast, and other parts we're not. This is about forensics and a case that I had. Now, you heard from Betty Barney Hill, the case for Kathy Martin this morning. Excellent case. I'm going to show you a forensic case we're working on in an all-black family. Why is that significant? Why is this significant?
Because I said so.
Say. Why? The lady called me on the phone. She says, "But we've had this wild stuff going on. I was recommended you from you by the people up in Canada." And I said, "Okay." Shows how much they know. I work alone here. All right. Now, that's okay. And I said, "So what nationality are you?" She's obviously black on the phone. And she says, "Well, Mr. Sims, we're African American." That's why I got that part. Answer the question. Almost nobody out there is pure anything. What are you? She says, "Well, we're Cherokee Irish." I said, "Thank you. 45% of our abductees are. I don't care if you're black or not. I don't care what you are. 45% of them are Cherokee Irish. Or Native American Irish. Many of them are Cherokee, like me. Now, the whole point of that is that she says, "Well, that's weird." And she says, "Well, I've got an adopted son." And I said, "Well, I would love to do a DNA test on him." She says, "Why?" I said, "See if he's your son or not." She said, "I said he was adopted." I said, "Doesn't mean a thing to me." What makes you think he's not yours? What makes you think he's not related to you? What makes you think? What causes you to know? We don't know anything.